Hello, this is Anthony Manning, and welcome to My Journey to Kent. My traveller this time is Pako Lekoko from Botswana, who first studied actuarial science with us and who is now studying for a master's degree in business analytics. Hi Pako, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Anthony. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So if you don't mind, let's start your journey with us by asking you just to tell us a little bit about where you call home.
Oh, okay. Where I call home. So I come from a village. It's not a small village. It's a very big village. One of the biggest villages in Botswana. It's a village just outside the capital city called Tlokeng, which shares a border with South Africa. My home is, I think, what I would call a nearly modernized village. We have a lot of dirt roads, but we do have some main tarred roads. But the lifestyle here is still quite rural, especially in the majority part of the village. Maybe where I live, particularly where my mother's house is a bit more urbanized as compared to, say, for instance, my grandmother's house. Yeah, this is where I call home.
Brilliant. So was it always on the cards that you were going to be going to university, or was this a major step for your family?
Oh no, it was always. I don't think I imagine my life any differently. As opposed, I mean, in consideration with, going to university or not. It was always okay, this is how life is. You do school, you go to university, masters, maybe we'll think about it, but definitely you are going to go to university.
That's wonderful. So can you tell us a bit more about your studies at the University of Kent?
Currently, I am doing my master's in business analytics within KBS. I previously did my BSc still at the University of Kent in actuarial science, which was within the School of Maths, Statistics, and Actuarial Science. A lot of people might think it's a bit, like they might wonder why I kind of deviated from actuarial science, but I don't think it's necessarily a deviation. I think it was a really good expansion. Having actuarial skills, knowing how to do the actuarial calculations, and then bringing in the data manipulation, data mining bit of things, I think it was a beautiful way to evolve as a professional. Because honestly, that's where the world is going. We're becoming more and more digital.
What led you to actuarial science in the first place?
Actuarial science, I think, let me think back. It was quite a while ago. Doing actuarial science was the next step in doing something that I absolutely loved. I have always been good at mathematics. I've always loved business, and bringing those two together was something that was almost second nature to me. I didn't know what actuarial science was, though, going through school. I only found out, I think, in my final year of high school, what actuarial science was. And learning more and more about it, I thought, okay, this is definitely something that I want to do. This is definitely something that seems like me. I would be fulfilled in this thing. It seemed broad enough to keep me interested, and I wouldn't get bored because I like to be engaged in the things that I'm doing.
And what made you choose the University of Kent as the place that you wanted to study in?
So how I even got to find out about the University of Kent was through a friend of mine who was studying at the university. But that's not particularly the reason why I chose it. So I chose it first and foremost because I wanted to do actuarial science, and the University of Kent is ranked as one of the top universities for actuarial science within the UK. So being able to go to a university and doing what it was that I wanted to do, and getting the number of professional exemptions, exemptions from the number of professional exams that I would have to do in order to qualify as an actuary, was a plus for me. I love the fact that the university is situated in a part of the country that is not as cold. You can imagine, moving from Botswana, which is really hot, and going to the UK and having to live in a place that is really, really cold. That wasn't something that I was really looking too forward to. So it was really great to be in a part of the country that was a bit warmer. I'm also from a landlocked country, and I had only been to a beach once in my life. So the fact that the University of Kent was like just a stone's throw away from so many beaches, I was like, yes, definitely, that is me. That is where I'm going.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you made your choice of study and obviously made the leap to come over to the UK. It sounds like your journey, your transition was a fairly smooth one, but have you experienced any obstacles along the way?
A lot, Anthony. Okay, so not necessarily that it was a smooth one. Leaving home itself had a bit of difficulties because firstly, I am on a scholarship from the government of Botswana. It's called the Top Achiever Scholarship. In order to get that scholarship, I needed to perform really well at GCSE level. Once I got my GCSEs and I did really, really well, I needed to then perform really well at my A levels. Once I did that, then I was able to be sponsored and go abroad. But even that transition of getting everything processed was not a smooth one. But once I was in the UK, even transitioning to a completely different, way of life, completely different social signals, completely different culture, I think it's something that we don't really think about before we leave home. But once you get there, you're like, wow, yeah, this is different. And I think the transition for me, the greatest difficulty was, I think the psychological aspect of being away from home, being away from your support system, being in a completely different place where you don't really know anybody that well. Yes, there are a few people that you can say hi to because maybe you saw on the plane coming over, but that's about it, And I think the greatest difficulty for me was adjusting to being in a completely different place, away from my usual support systems and having to deal with, I think, a different way of teaching as well, and still be able to keep my sanity.
Absolutely, and so you've clearly managed that very well. So what I wanted to ask you now is either actually or metaphorically, as a traveller, what 3 items would you pack in your luggage that would help you along the way?
I think first and foremost, an open mind. Being rigid and inflexible can really make for a difficult life. So whenever I go anywhere, even if it is, not too far, whenever I go visit anybody, for instance, keep an open mind. You don't know what you're going to see, but, take it as it comes and be grateful. Secondly, passion. I really believe that when you engage in something, it should be something that really excites you and ignites you, right? So if I am going to be doing something, I want to bring my full passion into whatever it is that I'm doing. And thirdly, I would say shoes. Pack lots and lots of shoes. Whatever you're doing, you want to be able to look down and love what you see. I like shoes, so I would say shoes.
That's a brilliant combination of things. I like that. So you've told us now a bit about your journey to Kent and your studies with us. What about your biggest life lesson that you've learned along the way?
I think the biggest life lesson that I have learned is that nobody knows really, nobody has all the answers, right? We're all kind of making up our lives as we go along. We're all kind of figuring it out one day at a time, especially in times like this, with COVID-19 and everything. You need to, I think, keep a very open mind, remain flexible, be adaptable. Yes, remain focused, but don't be so rigid in the way that you might think that you will achieve certain things. I think that's the biggest life lesson that I have learned.
Brilliant, thank you. And if you had to give advice to students who are following in your footsteps, what would you recommend or advise them?
I think I would probably give 2 pieces of information or 2 pieces of advice. First and foremost, take their mental health very seriously. that's where everything else flows. If your mind is not okay, if your heart is not okay, nothing else will flow well. So take it seriously, make sure that it's right up there with having good grades. Make sure that you engage in wellness activities, take care of your mind, make sure you're happy. And secondly, it would be to reach out and actually ask for help wherever it is that you might need it. There's so many people that are willing to give assistance for nothing. Just the fact that they are able to assist somebody else in their journey, they would be happy to do that. So I would really advise that students like myself take advantage of the resources that are available to them to assist them.
That's great advice. Thank you. And so now, of course, your journey with us is coming possibly to another point of transition. So you've done your degree with us, you're midway through or partway through your master's degree. I wonder what your plans are after graduation. What's your next destination?
Oh, I've got big plans, Anthony. Right now I'm currently working on my dissertation. So number one on my list is getting, a good piece of work done. Once I've completed my dissertation, I will be on the road to graduating. And right after graduation, I think I would really love to work on getting a project management qualification. First on my list is the MSP, Managing Successful Programs qualification. Mostly because my dissertation is linked to project management. And I think having that qualification will really trickle down into a lot of other things that I'm doing in my life and would really equip me to be able to do them well. Secondly, I plan to continue to work on and be a part of a non-profit organization that I founded called The Runway, of which I am the president. The Runway seeks to support international students, make that transition into different countries that they're going to study in, and really support them while they are there, help to facilitate skills development workshops, and just really equip them to be, the best versions of themselves that they could possibly be while they are away from home, and if they so choose, to transition back home. So I plan to be the president of The Runway for one more year, after which I really want to, because it's a lot of work, I hope to hand the reins over to somebody who would, take The Runway even further than I have. After that, or during that time, I would really like also to come back to the UK, because currently I'm at home. I'd really like to come back to the UK to set up a business. I love hair braiding. It's a big part of my culture, and it's something that I believe I'm very good at. I've been doing my hair for a lot of years now. I've been doing other people's hair for, I think, close to 13 years now. So I want to turn that into a business, because I have really come to the knowledge that there is a huge disparity when it comes to hairdressers, especially for Afro people. Yes, in the big cities like London, maybe Birmingham, there is a lot of supply of that. But when you think about the Kent area, there is a huge shortage, if that's even, a term that I could use. So I want to come back and serve the Afro, society within Kent first and foremost, and then spread out to the rest of the UK where there are not such a large number of services like this.
What an exciting range of prospects. So that sounds very exciting, and a lot of things to be getting on with. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pako. Goodbye.
Bye.